My local grocery store has choice ribeye steaks on sale, and they so happen to have some lobster tails on sale. So I figured this is a great opportunity to make a video about surf and turf. Now, traditionally, surf and turf is usually made with like a ribeye steak and lobster tail, or a T-bone steak and lobster tail. I've seen the lobster tail substituted for crab legs. So, you know, there's different variations of it. We're gonna do a pan-seared ribeye steak with the lobster tail. The lobster tail actually requires very little prep time, and it cooks in under 8 minutes. It really elevates your dish, and there's not a lot of effort going into it. Now, I know I do a lot of barbecue ribeye steaks, or steaks that are barbecued in general. I prefer to grill steaks most of the time because it's a bit more healthier, but we love pan-seared ribeyes. We usually save those for special occasions because it feels like a heart attack after when you're done. I can't choose between the two. I love grilled steaks, and that has a very unique flavor. And I love pan-seared ribeye steaks as well, because that also has a very unique flavor. I get a lot of questions regarding pan-seared, and it looks like a lot of you are intimidated by it. There's nothing to be intimidated about. It's really easy to make, but I understand there's a lot of like variations and questions. I know you guys have questions like, how thick of a steak should I buy? When should I throw in my butter, and at what temperature so I don't burn it? And when should I throw in my thyme, rosemary, and garlic? How high of a temperature do I need to get my skillet at to get that perfect sear on both sides? I'm gonna walk you through all of it. It's gonna be really easy to make. There's nothing to be intimidated about. It's definitely worthwhile. And if you throw in the lobster tail, surf and turf, you're gonna elevate your dish to like another level. So this is perfect for a special occasion or a really romantic event. So without further ado, let's go make a surf and turf with pan-seared ribeye and a lobster tail. Welcome back, everybody. And if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified on my next video, and please like and share with your family members. All right, let's get started. So the first thing you're gonna need is a pair of kitchen scissors. We're gonna go ahead and cut the shell of each lobster tail all the way down the middle and stop at the base of the tail. You can use a small spoon to help scoop out the meat, but you basically wanna dislodge the meat and then lift it up and present it over the shell. Just make sure you squish the shells together so you can get that perfect presentation. Next, we want to go ahead and clean each lobster tail by deveining it. And here comes the ribeye. Alright, so full disclaimer, it's best to get an 1.5 inch cut. That's probably the perfect thickness, but I went 2 inches because I'm shooting this video, and that gives me a little bit of time and leeway when I'm cooking it. Alright, we're going to go ahead and season these ribeyes with kosher salt and coarse, freshly ground black pepper. Now, it's super important that you season your ribeyes on both sides, and if you have to, flip them up and season those sides as well. A cool little trick is you can also mop up the ribeyes with all the seasoning that fell on your cutting board. That's all fair game. Allow the seasoning to fully dissolve into the ribeye for around 20 to 30 minutes. This also gives the ribeye a chance to get up to room temperature, giving you that perfect sear. Turn your stove up to high heat and make sure you use a steel skillet. Carbon steel, cast iron, or stainless steel. Ditch the non-stick coated skillets. Those are garbage. An easy way to tell if your skillet's hot, sprinkle some water and you should see it immediately evaporate. You're ready to go. We're going to use a high smoke point oil. I'm using grapeseed oil. Allow the oil to get up to temperature. You can tell when it's up to temperature when you see it just starting to smoke. And make sure you spread it across the entire skillet. We're ready now to put in the ribeye. Alright guys, so if you don't hear that sizzle, then your skillet and oil were not up to temperature. And that's usually the biggest mistake that people make. You want to gently press down on the ribeye to make sure you have full contact so we can get that perfect sear and browning. Man, that looks great already. Okay, now we're gonna put in the butter. It's important to lower the temperature and allow your skillet to adjust to the new temperature. You wanna shoot for a medium-low heat. Once your skillet's there, drop in your butter. You can tell that the butter's a pretty happy camper right now because it's bubbling up in excitement, and you don't see it turning into a dark, rancid color and splattering everywhere. And just go ahead and move the butter around. This kind of prevents it from overheating, and get it under the steak so you get that nice golden sear. Alright, now we're going to prepare the garlic. I just crush them with my big bare paws. I don't know what to tell you guys. Just do whatever you got to do to crush them so you can unlock that garlic taste. And then we're going to throw in the thyme and rosemary. We're going to let all the ingredients infuse together in that butter, creating an amazing aroma. And then we're going to tip the pan over and baste the ribeye. Grab your rosemary and thyme and brush them across the ribeye. Do the same thing with the garlic. We want to make sure the flavors are locked in. Here comes the flip. Look at that perfect sear. We're going to give the other side the same treatment. We're going to let it sear onto the butter. We're going to brush the rosemary and thyme and base all that flavor on top. This is looking amazing. I like to tilt my pan to give the sides a chance to sear. If you need to, grab the ribeye and flip it over on its side so you can sear that fat and seal that flavor. You don't want raw fat, so make sure you sear all the sides. Oh my goodness. If your mouth isn't watering right now, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, all we gotta do now is finish off the steak by getting the internal temperature up. We can't do that on top of the stove, so we gotta put it in the oven. So remove all the herbs because they will burn. Grab yourself a thermometer. I'm using the Meter Plus. You don't have to use an expensive thermometer. They sell them now for relatively cheap. It's a necessity for any chef. Go ahead and heat your oven up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to bring the internal temperature of the steak up to 125 degrees. I like my steaks medium rare. And it would be a crime to cook a ribeye any other way. My meter probe started glitching on me, so I tossed that thing. I went for my much cheaper but more reliable wired probe, and it got me to the finish line. I pulled the steak out of the oven and I let it sit on a plate to rest for 10 to 15 minutes. That's so important. Alright, I'm going to cook now the second ribeye. Before we can start searing, we got to remove all that butter and stuff from the first one because that's just going to burn. We're going to make sure the pan is nice and clean, and we're going to put in our grapeseed oil. See? I told you guys, this is super easy. Here we go again. Oh, it's like music to my ears. Remember, if you don't hear that sear, then your pan was not hot enough. Alright, here comes the flip. Look at that perfect sear, and we haven't even put the butter in yet. I'm telling you guys, if you guys just follow my instructions, this is so easy. We're going to reduce the temperature to medium-low heat, and we're going to throw in that butter. In goes the crushed garlic, thyme, and rosemary. And now it's time to bathe this ribeye. Next, I'm going to saute some asparagus, but this time I'm not cleaning out the pan. I want all that flavor in there. Throw in your asparagus, season with salt, pepper, and a little bit of lemon just to give a pop. The asparagus looks great. Now we're going to start working on the lobster tail, which has been chilling in the fridge. We're going to season with salt, pepper, paprika for coloring, and a little bit of cayenne pepper for flavoring. grab some pre-melted butter that's been kind of cooled and drench the lobster tails in it. You want it relatively cooled because if it's super hot, when it goes into the oven, it will burn. And then we're gonna go ahead and put these lobster tails on broil for 5 to 7 minutes. And this is the results. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a steakhouse style surf and turf, only better. And guess what? It was super easy to make and required very little time and effort. I told you guys, there's nothing to it. Stay tuned for an up and coming video where I'm going to talk about dry aged ribeye. That's right, we're going to take it up a couple notches. As always, this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys found the video informative. Please leave me a comment below and I will catch you guys on the next video. Take care, everybody. Hey there, did you like that video? If you did, I'd really appreciate your help. See, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. And if you can subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you get notified of my next video, I'd really appreciate it. And if you could share with your family and friends, that would help a lot. Thanks guys, I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day.